Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Leadership, What's on Your Mind? We're going to be talking and storytelling around the subject of leadership. And today we've got Sean O'Neill on. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm great, Stuart. Thanks for having me.
Good. So we're going to get straight into it. So we know the format is 20 minutes and I'm just going to start and let's get going.
Fantastic.
So the clock is off. So Sean, for people who don't know you, tell us a little story about who you are, what you do, and introduce yourself.
So I came from a village in County Down in Northern Ireland. I grew up on a farm. I was an only child. And in those days, growing up in Northern Ireland wasn't easy. It seemed like everyone was working hard and nobody really had the answers or the formula for success. Without knowing it, I was living a fresh, organic life, working on the farm. But I always thought there's more out there and more's needed. So my grandma, who I was predominantly with because my mom and my dad worked a lot, taught me a lot of the lessons of life, which seemed to put me in good stead to where I am now. She taught me about finance through working the land and how to buy and sell animals. She taught me about leadership, of how she was the youngest child that had to come back home from working in England to take care of her parents before they died when she was quite young, and also then look after the farm. So a lot of the skills that is needed to be a leader or to run a business, I was learning at a very young age without even knowing it.
Yeah, the best way of learning.
So very quickly I decided I need a way out. I was fortunately very good at maths and English, and I saw a gap in the market when I was 11 and I started my first business, which was selling fireworks. I think you know this story, Stuart.
It's brilliant. I love it.
But the long story was that I was able to get hold of these fireworks off a friend of my dad's. And because my dad knew him, he was able to buy them wholesale. I soon realized that if I was able to save some money, I could get these fireworks to my friends who'd be willing to pay the retail price. And very quickly, through saving some money for a number of weeks, which was £5 pocket money from my mum, £5 pocket money from my dad, I saved £40 over 4 weeks. I went hungry because I obviously couldn't tell anyone, so I was telling lies that I was having dinner when I wasn't. My pocket money was being spent on sweets when it wasn't. And I ended up in the first month of that business turning £40 into £2,000, which in those days, the average wage was about £500 a month. So I was making quadruple what the average wage was. It quickly, from the skills I knew on the farm, trading with animals, and the hardships that I saw all around me, from the stories from my grandma would tell me to what I witnessed myself, I really realized that there must be a better way out of this poverty hole that everybody seems to be in. And I knew that hard work alone would not be the answer. There must be another way. And slowly I built my team around me, very young, where I had went into selling clothes and other businesses I got involved in. But most of my money was made by me creating my team, which were my friends at the time, that were my distributors to go to different villages and different classes within school. So very, very early on, I realized that you're never going to be successful on your own. You're never going to be successful overnight because you need to learn by mistakes. But if you can bring people along with you and be a good leader, great gains can be made. And also it's fun when everybody does well and everybody gets something out of it, not just yourself.
Yeah, that's a great mentality as well. And so tell us about what you're doing now then. What does the here and now look like? Fast forwarding a little bit.
So fast forwarding to right now, which is a
Yeah,
big fast forward.
that is a big one.
I founded the Adore Group, which is an umbrella brand for multiple businesses involved in retail, media, digital marketing, property, which is a big part of it, and business acquisition. I now, my main goal is to find great people out there with great skills and invest in them, or find great businesses out there that just aren't maybe run as efficiently or as correctly, and they need someone like me, and I invest in those businesses. So it's all about, not about me and about everybody else, which may seem modest, but it is definitely what I believe. I'm only a very small piece of the jigsaw. I'm able to link the jigsaw together.
Yeah, that was one
In
of the
both
reasons
cases.
we did that fast forward really, because I see from all the way from when we started that story to now, the connection is still there, isn't it? About investing and believing in others and building that team around you.
Absolutely. To get the most out of anyone, you have to show value in them, but also a bit of freedom. So if you're going to manage your manager of your business, then they're not really a manager. You have to find great people that can manage, and then they can lead, and you can listen to them. They can feel as if they're part of the business, which in a lot of cases my team are. They have an interest in my businesses. And I prefer to find business partners or people that really want to go on this journey with me.
Yeah. So can I take you back to one of the things that I really encourage people to think about and to become even more aware about is about the importance of self-leadership and self-drive. So to sort of do a little bit of a diver, could you tell us a little bit about some of the things, and I know a lot of your story, about some of the times that things haven't been great, and I know you came through some troubles in your business world, about when you've really had to lead yourself forward and what that looks like?
Well, you always, your mind plays games with you. Today's a beautiful sunny day, and so may tomorrow, but today I might be in a good mood and tomorrow I may not. It's all in your mind, and you have to, I think, to get yourself in the right frame of mind, you have to really have gratitude. You have to really appreciate and be grateful for everything you have. Now I have that instilled in me because I saw what my ancestors have gone through. Also, in my business life, I've had lots of ups and downs. I spent all my money. I made a huge amount of money in my teenage years, and I spent it all going into my 20s. Then in my mid-20s, I started a very successful property business that made, a huge amount of money. And in 2008, it got completely wiped out with the last recession. So in the darkest days, all I knew is that if I was to believe in my skills and I don't give up, then I can't fail. And I've always realized that I am the type of person that will learn from mistakes or will learn from experiences. Sometimes they're not mistakes. Sometimes they're just experiences, and you couldn't possibly know everything. So I always remembered of the difficult times my grandparents had, and even all the people in Ireland and the stories and the history of Ireland. And I always said, well, how bad is my life really? Even if it's financially in ruin, I've still got my brain, I've still got my body. And ultimately, challenges make me stronger. Even in this current climate is a great example. Some of my businesses have gone to zero, and other of my businesses are doing quite well. But even within that, I've now hired a fitness coach 7 days a week. He comes to my apartment at 10:30 every morning to 12:30, 7 days a week. I only ever trained 3 days a week before that. So I thought that through this in lockdown, where we're not able to be as free flowing, and most of it is video messaging, and maybe we're losing out. I'm going to keep my mind and my body as sharp as possible. But I don't see the challenge as a negative. I see it as a huge positive. It's that time again to sort of look and be really appreciative. And am I a true leader? Well, times like this is the time to actually prove your worth. If I wasn't a true leader, I'd get into my cocoon and I'd wait till it's all over. But I am more a leader now to my managers and to my business partners, because now they see the real me, where when everything is going well. My grandma had a great saying, is you're great when you're doing. So when everything's just going well and everyone's doing their job and there's no big pressure, everyone's great. But when times like this come, you really do see behind that initial layer, and you see right deep into somebody's values. You see into what great a team you have, and I'm completely blessed now more than ever, because me being a leader, I've employed so many leaders under me that are looking after their team. So it's not me at this stage again, as I've repeated before. It's the people that I have around me that have made it so easy in this current climate to wake up each day, to enjoy each day, and again be grateful for what I or we have created, and even more so what the future's going to hold.
Yeah.
So there's a huge negative at the moment, but I don't see that. I see that as the rocket that's going to boost us to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. And can I just pick up on something that I know that you'll be able to tell a great story about as well? So what I see at the minute is a lot of people turning up and showing up and thinking in the business that I need to use a massive positive, which is what we're doing now, speaking online. I've been doing this for 12 months with my clients and networking, etc. But just, can you tell us that story of when you came across to Liverpool and about getting to know everybody?
Yeah, so
and the impact that had.
I came to, I do it now. I do it to this day, and I try and teach my team. But so I came to Liverpool 2003, and like everyone, I just had a little cool Nokia. There was no smartphones in those days. There was no Google on your hands, in your handset. And I thought the only way I'm going to make an impression on this city is if I get to know people. Now, the most beautiful word in anyone's mind is their own name. So if you can call someone by their own name, whether they directly realize that or not, but they will appreciate it. And subconsciously, you've broken down so many barriers. So as I got to know people in bars and restaurants, every single person I spoke to, I'd say, how are you doing? Who are you? And once I find out their name, because I haven't got a photographic memory, I'd type in their name on my phone. And the first name I ever typed in my phone was Charlie Revolution. He was the doorman in a bar called Revolution just beside my house. And then I found out who the manager was, and I typed his name in, Richard Revolution. And it got to the stage that everyone couldn't realize that who's this kid who knows everybody's name and called everyone by their name. I ended up having VIP into restaurants, bars, and within 2 years, I had cemented myself with a group of people that I call my elders, who I look up to, who are some of the greatest business people in the UK. Although they live in Liverpool, I am business partners with them. I have so many connections with my elders, and they've all took me under their wing, because I genuinely had an interest to learn. But it was learn everyone's name. It was to learn about everyone. It was the guy on the door it was the bar manager, it was the bar man. It just because I had such an interest and I put in the time and effort to show that interest, and it ultimately paid dividends. So it's really what you put in, it is what you get out.
Yeah, definitely, and I love that, and it definitely comes across. In the last 5 minutes, then I want to add as much value to the audience as possible. So let me just take you to when you take over a business, for the reasons that maybe it's not being led in the right direction. What are some of the common things that you kind of instill in a business, or specifically the person who's driving that business forward, into sort of showing them a direction of leadership? What sort of things that you would do?
Well, instantly, any business is about people and numbers. They're the two most important things. When I go into any business, I want to speak to the boss, and if the boss is a bit of an idiot, that's not a problem, because I can see huge growth behind the scenes. Because if he's running a business and he isn't well liked, or whatever reason, and he just wants to sell because he's fed up of all his team and all his staff, I know that if I go in with a smile on my face and encouragement, that business is going to be a hell of a lot more value once I take over, because it was probably the boss that was repressing it. I'm maybe repressing the team. I look for inefficiencies. I ask questions more than anything. But recently, I purchased 2 businesses, and the businesses I purchased had actually a very good. There was a business partner that wasn't great, but ultimately they were ran quite well. But what I liked about them is the people, the staff, the team, and the businesses that I bought into. I just knew that the numbers were a little bit off, and they weren't thinking or acting outside the box. So they're a bit inefficient. So I knew I could bring efficiencies, but also I knew that I could bring a structure that would make them feel like everyone had ownership of the company, from the secretary upwards, where everyone would get rewarded based on results. So and a year on, we have done extremely well. One of them is actually recession proof. It's actually doing very well even now. The other one's gone to zero just at the moment, but was doing very well until the current climate.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So what does the future look like for you?
I just love being part of the success with other people, whether it's a new business venture where someone has an idea and needs that help to bring that idea to life, or whether it's an existing business. I just love learning from people as well. So the more people I can connect to that have a positive, happy, sort of longer vision on where they want to be, and they're willing to work hard and learn, that just helps me. It helps me learn as well, because you have to constantly grow, you have to constantly learn, and you have to constantly be pushed. So I kind of underpin everything that I'm doing that pushes me forward, because then I have to learn more, because I have to bring more to my team, or they teach me more because they've learned something else. So it's a perpetual wheel of knowledge, excitement. There's some difficult days, with money. There's always difficult decisions that need made, but ultimately, I think you can't have too many great people around you, especially if you all have a vision of helping each other and being able to go to that next level.
Yeah, and just literally for the last minute or so, I think it's great what you've been doing as well, because some people might not have known that you've signed yourself up for a comedy gig recently. It was just before the lockdown, wasn't it? And,
yeah,
and you'll tell us a little bit about your fitness challenge that you have had to delay a little bit. But
yeah, so I'm going to I was meant to run the Great Wall of China Marathon, and I changed that to the North Pole Marathon, which is in October. It may need changed again, but I'm going to do some very physical challenges next year. And again, the comedy was I did a 3-week comedy course and went live in front of 250 people on stage just before it was the 29th of February. I think it was a leap year this year, just a few months ago. So you will never understand your capabilities if you don't push yourself to that uncomfortable place.
Yeah, I think that's really talk about. I'm just going to turn the. We've just come to the end there, but I think really talking about that self leadership to then drive into having a reaction and an impact on your team, which then drives the business forward, is something that I think you live and breathe. So it's really inspirational to watch. And so, Sean, that's the end of the interview. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to staying connected with you and catching up very soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. That's amazing.
So if you guys want to catch up with Sean or know what he's up to, I'm going to put all his social media links below. And if you want to subscribe to either our YouTube channel or your podcast provider, make sure you do, because we've got other episodes coming up. And we'll see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye.